Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new session. To start off, without wasting any time, I would like to invite our first speaker, Dr. Debashis Das, and he's going to talk on the topic how to go for starting your MedTech startup, the paths to follow. He's MD pharmacology, and he is in his diabetology from USA and MBA in UK. He has 20 years experience in the healthcare industry. He is a medical advisor for the government of India, and he has advised many different AI-related topics to different forums. So I welcome you, sir. Thank you.
This is a very offbeat topic, not exactly related to diabetes, but still. These are my disclosures. So I work with the government very closely for last 10 years now, part of the national TEP, which they call TEP. I'm part of the technical expert panel for Government of India, basically evaluating proposals, anything which comes for MedTech, diagnostics, healthcare, IT-related projects, basically. And these are some of the incubators or accelerators of BioNest. Again, some of them, most of them are Government of India empaneled, and I work very closely on them, basically to evaluate and look into the journey they go till they reach market. As of now, I think we might have, from BIRAC, we might have funded at least more than 10,000 startups in the journey for last 10 years or more, and at least 1,500 of them are already in the market with the support from the government. And it is the tax money or the exchequer's money what we all pay. Yeah. So I will try to just be precise, because we can spend a whole day, but we can discuss. Yeah. So this is very important in healthcare. Despite astonishing advances in medical treatment and substantial investment that are made in healthcare innovation, MedTech startups have one of the highest failure rates. Why? It is very, very important to understand the challenges and the driving forces. Because MedTech startups are very different than the normal startups. You can always have a Swiggy, Zomato or something else, and much easier for you to reach market, but MedTechs are real. So what mindset and expertise are needed to navigate? Now, as I said, why innovations in MedTech startups are so challenging? Most of the startups are very hard to build, and the major challenge is, first is funding. Because it's a long investment time. It's a long time. It's a test match. It's not 2020. So you need continuous funding support. And investors will always say, if I'm investing today, I want quick return. That's the challenge. Funding is always challenging, especially in MedTech and healthcare. Second, product development and certification. Process in MedTech is very different than others. So unlike conventional engineering, here you need in-depth knowledge of safety norms, standards, accreditation, and if it is a medical product, you need regulatory approval. If you don't want to go to the medical pathway, you want to go wellness path, then that's totally different. But if you are going for a medical one, then you need all this. Then third, how good your product may be. If your commercial strategy and execution is not good, again it will fail. So all three are important. You need to have funding, you need to have a good team to do, who has knowledge, or you have resources to do development and certification in the process it should be done, and then you should have a viable business model, commercial strategy and execution. And again, in the bottom, no matter how well you plan, it always will take longer time and cost more than you think. So expect the worst and aspire to be the best. And there are no shortcuts. You have to follow that path. Now I will take you through effectively navigating a MedTech startup. So a MedTech project is a multifaceted journey that demands careful navigation through a complex intersection of technology, clinical healthcare, and regulatory landscape. Now, this is very, very important. Whenever, if you are an innovator or you are part of the innovation team, the basic questions you should ask yourself and your team members. Number one, very, very critical. Is there a need? You have to do a proper gap analysis. You have to first verify and validate the problem. If you do not do that properly, then you might end up with a product which doesn't have any value. So gap analysis or assessing the burden is the most important thing, the problem. So does your medical device or MedTech thing address a clinical healthcare problem? It could be better outcome, it could be faster diagnosis, it could be point of care, it could be reduction in the overall cost, whatever. It can be from different angles, but it has to be first thing. Second, how can your MedTech or medical device be integrated to the clinical workflows, ensuring a user-friendly experience for both healthcare professionals and patients. If you are making something which cannot be part of the normal clinical flows, acceptance will be very late. Because our healthcare doctors are used to follow a certain guidelines and things. And if it doesn't follow in that, then your acceptance is very, very low. So you need to see from the beginning that it can be incorporated somewhere in the clinical flows. Third, is the proposed medical solution technically feasible? Idea can be great, but is it technically feasible? And being doctors, you need a good engineering team in your team to understand, to tell you that yes, this is technically feasible. Fourth, very, very important again, does the medical device have a viable market size? Once you know the need, then you should also see that there is a market exist. You are not doing charity, correct? It has to be sustainable. So you need to see there is a market for that. Fifth, what is the current stage of scientific knowledge regarding the medical cause that the device is addressing? That also you should be very, very clear. Six, very important. Now, medical devices has been classified into different categories. Grade 1, Grade 2, Grade 2A, 2B, and Grade 3, Grade 4. You should know where your product falls, because depending on that, your regulatory things will depend. If it is MedTech the type A, then you need very minimal clinical validation. But it is an invasive which falls in category C, then you need stringent clinical studies. So that's why you need to know which category it falls. Also you should know which market you are looking at. If you are just looking at India, you just need to look at CDSU guidelines, what is the norm, and just follow that. But if you are thinking big, CE and FDA, because if you don't think from the beginning and later on you think I will do US FDA approval, that will not happen. Because US FDA will start looking at your process from the beginning only. And if you have not followed from the beginning, you will not get approval for your MedTech. So you have to be very clear. One is which category of medical device it falls. Second, which market you are looking at. Depending on that, you will follow the regulatory path. 7, as I said, what is the clear intended use and risk classification of the device? Has to be very clear. Then, 8, which standards and norms are essential to comply with a successful certification of the device? Then, all of this will tell you, will clinical trials will be required or not? So, all this if you have answer, then automatically you will have a proper clinical answer, whether you, for validation, depending on the regulatory path. If you are not going through the medical path, wellness path, then you might skip the clinical part. Then 10, as I said, most important, what is the business model? What is the strategy? Who, when the product comes, who is your end customer? Who is going to pay for that? Sometimes end customer might be patient, but paying somebody else. Then it will be B2B. But if your customer is paying end customer, then it will be B2C. So you need to be very clear what will be your business model. Depending on that, your payment or pricing will differ. You might have one-time cost, you might have a subscription cost, or you might have a continuous one. So it depends. So these are very, very basic question that you should have answered before you take the journey. And identifying the weaknesses is very, very important. Because most of the times, in my last 10 years, most of the innovators are either engineers or they are scientists working in a university, research or something. What they do, they do not come to the problem properly. They just sit in their lab or in their, wherever they are in the sense, and they just think this is the problem, and they will talk to one or two people in the field and they will just validate it. But that is not the, and then later on when they come, we tell doesn't exist only, there is no problem. So you need to, so what they do is, another problem is they go from solution to problem. They don't go from problem to solution. So what they say, I can make this better, so I have this solution, they will search for market. That doesn't happen. That fails. Lot of times I've seen, most of them, the major problem is they do not validate the problem. They do not come out in the field. I tell them, if it's a healthcare, you need to see where it is used, in the PHC, in the CHC, or a corporate hospitals, or in a diagnostic lab. You have to talk to the stakeholders, right stakeholders, at least 10 or 20 of them to validate this, but they don't do it. So major problem with these innovators are they do not involve clinicians from the beginning also. So the right path is from problem to solution, not from solution to problem. And this is just a 360-degree lens approach to start your, this one, you can see the knowledge and research and knowledge creation, problem statement, tech enabling, IP design, then you come to proof of concept, then you go all this, piloting, tech transfer, you can have industry, academia, validation, and then market, and this is just a 360 view, how you go for a starting. This is the path you follow. This same thing what I told you, the process, identify the problem statement, the unmet need, design thinking for the product, prototyping it, team building, very, very important, because it is a MedTech. You need clinicians, you need engineers, you need regulatory consultants, you need a good team, if otherwise it will not happen. Team tech validation, patent and tech transfer, funding source, whether it's government, para-government, private, or what, angel investors, outreach activities. Then once everything is done, you have to be very clear in branding, ROI, and building the critical mass. And so this is normally we use this term for a technology. Government of India also uses this. What is the technology readiness level of your MedTech when you start? So if it is in the basic research stage, it is TRL 1. If research to prove feasibility is there, then it is in TRL 3-4. If it is in technology development, it is somewhere in TRL 5. Okay? And if it is system development, it will TRL 8. And the last one is TRL 9. So normally, when you apply to the government or anyone for a funding, you will be somewhere in TRL 2 or TRL 3 at the prototype level, or maybe just before that. And then you follow this. So this terminology is not very, very familiar with physicians or clinicians. Normally this is used very commonly by the engineers and the software and the hardware engineers. So I work very closely with these guys, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi and all. So they are all aware of this technology, but doctors do not know this. You also have to see market readiness level. Once you go ahead, then that was technical level, this is your commercial, where it will be market readiness, at what level you are. Very, very important, because it's not charity. At the end of the day, it has to be viable, business-wise, commercially viable. So you have to see where exactly you are in the market readiness level, and accordingly we have to work. Sometimes you need to have external consultants, marketing consultants, or someone to help you. This again part of that only. Now, I'll quickly go. Now coming to funding, I will close at funding opportunities. This is very, very important, because always you need funding. So funding opportunities, there are different levels. So this is the normal process of a MedTech journey. From ideation, then we go to proof of concept, then we go to prototype, then we go to testing, scale up and commercialization. And the entire path, there are different, so this is only government funding. You can get private fundings, You can get from banks, you can get individual fundings, angel investors, but this is government. And at every stage, Government of India is funding. I will tell you in detail. So same thing, you can see stage-wise funding at different levels. So you have funding for ideation stage, prototype stage, testing, validation stage, commercialization stage, for accelerators, for academicians, and for incubators. At every section you have a funding from the government. This started almost 2014 when Mr. Modi came to government, the BJP government. Then they started this whole ecosystem. Now coming to ideation stage. So in ideation stage, ideation means from idea to POC. In very, very early stage, you have DST Nidhi, EIR funding, you have SIIP BIRAC funding, then you have EIR, and then you have this one. So these are some of the just pictures. You have different, you can see, you can get funding up to lakhs, 50 lakhs. That is also big grant is 50 lakhs. So you have lot of fundings. You need a good team to work on. So this is for just from initiation stage, in the ideation stage. Then in the prototype stage, once you gone to prototype stage, these are the 4 fundings you have from government: MITI, DST Nidhi, BIRAC Big, and BIRAC Big. For Northeast, they have separate one. Yeah, I'll take 2 minutes and then finish it. So again, there are different funding, different requirements. You can always go to this website mentioned here, or you can just reach out to me if you need more help. I can connect you to the right process, how to apply for these fundings. This is again Government of India fundings. And this is validation testing. Again, you have different fundings. CISFES, CIBRI, BIP. And again, these are different. There are characteristics which you have to follow, and then depending on that, you have to apply through an incubator, and again you will be getting funding for that stage. In the commercialization stage, also Government of India supports in these for MedTech, BIRAC Path, Seed, Leap, and Nidhi and Tide investment. Again, these are again different, some of the different schemes which you can apply and take the advantage. Academicians, if you are also in a medical college, for academicians also, you have AIR, Academic Innovation Research and Contract Research Scheme. So you can apply as an academician and you will get funding from the government. These two are the biggest one. You can get up to 50 lakhs and you can also get up to few things. So this is academicians, as I said, PACE. We call promoting academic research conversion to enterprise. In PACE, government, the organization can get up to 2 crores funding from the government, PACE. And for incubators, so you are not alone. So if you have a good idea, Government of India has have different incubators across. For example, in South, they have CCAM Bangalore, they have IIT Hyderabad, they have IIT Chennai. Okay, then East, they have KITS TBI, they have IIT Bhubaneswar, they have Manipur, there is a Manipal Institute of Technology, NICER. In North, they have IIT Delhi. Then in West, they have Sign IIT Bombay, TIS Mumbai, so many different. So they are ready, so they have a whole ecosystem. You will be attached to one of the incubators. They will help you in along the process. For example, you need a team of engineers, they will help you in that, regulatory assistance, commercialization assistance, connecting to people. So you will get all that assistance from these incubators. So if you attach to one of them, you can follow that process, and they will, what they do is, they take equity. If it is going up, they will take some 1% or 2% equity from your this one, and they will support you. So this is just, I'll close in, this is one of the recent startup you can see in the commercialization stage, basically a POC for urine microalbumin measurement. This is just point of care. You can have the device, put a urine, and you will get the microalbumin, point of care. This is, you can see the fundings they have got from the government, and now they are at this stage. Larkai is very, very famous you have heard from Bangalore. They are basically a AI to analyze, give report of your CT scan and ultrasound, Larkai. So again, very successful, already in the commercial stage, and the people are using it. So again, we have supported them from the beginning a lot, and now they are very, very successful. So this is a holistic startup support system by the government through the help of the incubators. So I would advise or request or recommend, if you have any such thing, you need help or you need a connection somewhere, please, you can always feel free to reach out to me. I can connect you to the right people if you want to take your product. But Government of India under BIRAC, they fund MedTech, they fund Agritech, these two tech. And it has to be, it cannot be just apps.
And the whole
it has to be some hardware and software.
GPT has come out very nicely.
So that was all about, in this small 15 minutes, I can tell you about how you go to your startup. The major issue what I see is they do not validate the problem statement and they do not engage clinicians from the beginning. Oh, this has to be done. And clinical trial will take so much of money. So they never, so that is the major challenge. But as a clinician, I will say, if you have an idea, talk to your engineers first, that is it technically feasible? Other way around. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We will have the questions at the end of the symposium.